tributes continue to pour in for the late Andrew Mlangeni, the last surviving member of the Rivonia Trial of 1964. Mlangeni was convicted together with former President Nelson Mandela and was imprisoned on Robben Island. Mlangeni passed away this morning at the age of 95. I want to bring in now Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize, who's the chair of the June and Andrew Mlangeni Foundation. Professor, our deepest condolences to you at this time. Your thoughts?
Good morning. Good morning to the listeners.
Tell us about when you heard the news, what was your immediate reaction?
Well, the past 2 days, we were concerned, but because of that there has been in and out of healthcare facilities, we were hopeful. But of course, you know, when we celebrated his 95th birthday, we all were grateful for the number of years he had led. But of course, the actual passing came, it really evoked a whole bag of mixed feelings of, sadness, when you have been in a journey with a person and coming to an end of life is not easy, I must say, especially if a person's life is as rich as his, where we haven't begun to understand it from his humble beginnings, experiences of poverty, of discrimination, up to a point where he associated himself on his own with the struggle against that evil system. So I suppose today is to come to terms with the reality, the end of the road, but also in some questions in terms of what next. What do we do with such a rich history that he has gone with a really lived life experience?
It is no doubt the end of the road for his earthly life, but his legacy, you would agree, lives on. The President, Cyril Ramaphosa, described him as a champion and exemplar of the values and moral standards that South Africa ascribes to achieve. What would you say is his biggest legacy in terms of his contribution to South Africa?
As I've said, it's so rich and so complex. But one, having lived very closely with Tate Mlangeni, you begin to say, maybe let's bring it at the level where he will bring it. And not make it complex, but he had a way of simplifying his commitments, his actions, his involvement, and of course wanted to limit the self in it and spoke more about solidarity and commitment to the cause. So just in simple terms, we are dealing with the loss of a man who, when he committed to a cause, for him was a point of no return from childhood, his childhood. But what I think one begins to link now and think about him and all other leaders, you start seeing this man who also made no claims for anything. Since 1994, he would say, have you ever seen me fighting or contesting a position based on what I did yesterday? Yeah. So those are some of the things which now, in terms of the culture we're in, of contestation and in groups and in fightings, you begin to appreciate him even more, to say, he has taught us a lesson that if you do something for your country, You don't do it because you expect the country to pay you back tomorrow. You do it as a responsibility, but also you do it because you believe in a certain cause, and there's an element of loyalty to the cause rather than self-interest. So I will always cherish his selflessness.
Yeah.
There's no discussion you will hold with Andrew Mlangeni without him saying, no, it wasn't me. Me and my comrades, when we sat and planned that we'll do this, we did it, we were loyal to each other, nobody deviated.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that one is struggling, trying to internalize and deepen them and say, if they did it under those circumstances, what do we do today, especially with our youth, and ensure that they begin to formulate different identities. And so it's the first day we are trying to come to terms, but at the same time we are beginning to think ahead, especially the foundation in terms of saying, now that the reality is he's gone. What shape does it take?
I'm just listening to you, and I guess that's what President Cyril Ramaphosa meant when he said that Andrew Mlangeni was a unique example of heroism and humility, all in the same person, a beacon of hope for many, a beacon of ethical leadership. I want you, Professor Mkhize, to pull back the curtain for us. Give us a window into his soul. We know that he had a great sense of humor. We just had a clip earlier on talking, I think, at one of the celebrations. Talk to us about some of the fond memories you have, the biggest takeaways that you had with Tata Mlangeni.
You see, it's funny, the past 2 days, we spoke a bit with Silo when Silo was beginning to be worried. And then I said, Silo, we need to inform the leadership that now he's in the hospital. He has a way of that silly, childlike smile, and a way of explaining whether it's complex, painful journey, but in ways where you could sit and chat and laugh. And I will always remember that smile, even when he was talking about the threat over their lives during the Rivonia Trial. He still said, we expected this, but going to Robben Island initially made me feel very vulnerable. And then he goes back to the support he got from his late wife, June. And again, sometimes when people talk about painful experiences, you want to switch off. You don't want to engage because you want to protect yourself. But Mlangeni had a way, the smile, the love, deeper love, and just satisfaction with life, which made you to hold on and want to hear more and listen more and smile with him and laugh with him. And so, that's a human element. And not to mention when it comes to things like golf, where he will behave like a 16-year-old and be stubborn and want to stand. I remember at one point he didn't have a belt. For some reason, the pants were too big. Then people had to run around and looking for a belt, and they were just funny moments. But because of his personality, it will all end up being a joke and fun, and a lot of fun. It's like your own age group. You won't feel that it's a veteran, big name, his Palande, revolutionary, freedom fight, all the big steps he took in his life.
And hopefully that those who are battling to come to terms with Tata Mlangeni's death will remember those fond memories, that smile, and a smile will come to their face before a tear comes to their eyes. Professor Mkhize, as always, we thank you very much indeed for your time. Be well.
Thank you so much for assisting us to reach out to the people of South Africa on this, this difficult day. Thank you so much.